Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our channel. Today, I'll be presenting a topic, the fourth of the series, and the topics under the course Contemporary World. So this is the fourth of the series of topics on contemporary world. So this is entitled Globalization with Giddens. Now, this is based, of course, from the book of Lord Anthony Giddens, The Runaway World, How Globalization is Reshaping Our Lives. So right there in the background. Now, this is in this book, there are 5 chapters, and the first chapter is in globalization. So I summarized the chapters into 3 phases, wherein the first phase is about introduction, the second phase is about the position, about how we look at globalization, and the rest is about some historical analysis of globalization. Now, in the introductory part, Giddens tries to introduce a narrative, a story about a friend having field work in Africa and get invited into one of the homes, and Giddens, tell a story about this friend experiencing watching a Basic Instinct movie, wherein the came out in 1992, starring Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas, and she was surprised because this movie did not even reach the London cinemas, but uh, she was watching it in one of the nights while she stayed in Africa. So this is a sign of an effect of globalization. So according to Giddens, sometimes we feel the effect. We are affected with globalization, but we cannot fully understand globalization as what it is. Now, Giddens also presented how widespread the term spread around the world. For France, for example, the term is mondialization. Spain and Latin America, we have globalization, and the Germans, the globalisierung. The term itself in the Philippines, I think, still globalization. But the term in various countries, it has some terms about in relation to globalization. So meaning it's really widespread. So this is how Giddens introduced the chapter. And the second part of the chapter is the positions, how we look at globalization. Giddens presented the 2 common understanding of globalization. The skeptics, for example, thought that there is no unique in globalization. What is happening in the era of globalization is the same as what is happening before. It happens. There's global trade. There's global trade way back then, even during the time of when the Spanish domination around the world. We have the galleon trading. So there could be trading around the world. However, the radicals believe that the world trade is much higher than it ever was before. Just like you can trade $7 trillion in foreign exchange, and this is so much as compared before. So, but all of these 2 positions, according to Giddens, were mistaken. Skeptics and radicals were mistaken because globalization is not all about economic, but also political, technological, and cultural. So this is how Giddens understood things, that globalization is not just merely economics in nature, but what is happening now is uh, a, a, a holistic affair, an event that took place that influences all aspects of our lives. Now, the last part, the third phase, is the historical analysis of what is happening in, at least in the last half of the 15th century. One example is in communication. The Morse code was changed to satellite and electronic communications, and we have new forms of technologies of communication. We have the social media, the rise of social media. Although it is not in the book, but it is the Giddens presented that, you know, the influence of new technological, the new technology of communications creates celebrities, and in our case we have the social media. It creates new celebrities that cannot happen in the mainstream, like the television thing. So next is the equality. Women felt greater equality than men. Also, culture, westernization or Americanization of our culture. We have the McDonald's, Coca-Cola are spreading around the world. The American products are spreading around the world. Thus, according to Giddens, globalization brought this widespread, um, you know, cultural change. However, there is, although we seems to be more connected than ever before, but inequality, the gap between rich and poor is getting much higher as compared uh, years back then, prior to the age of globalization. Now, the next thing is, there are questions Gideon tries to uh, ask in this book. One of it is globalization a force promoting the general good? Actually, the answer is it's a two-edged sword. Just like, for example, the free trade is a double-edged sword. It could be yes and no at the same time. It has the free trade opens up borders. However, um, products, services entering various countries with the best of qualities, having the competitive advantage. Thus, these products and services, uh, you know, are 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 creating losses of the local economy. Another question is: are nation states, hence national political leaders, still powerful, or are they becoming largely irrelevant to forces shaping the world? The answer is yes and no. Political leaders are still powerful for one reason: they control the armed forces. They can go to war, just like what happened at, in the past few years. In 2022, we have Russia attack Ukraine. Uh, then we have last year, we have Netanyahu uh, lead to, to destroy the Hamas. So political leaders are still powerful in the sense that they control the the you know the armed forces. In the book of Giddens, in the chapter Globalization, Giddens tries to present, because the book is published in year 2000. Giddens tries to present that during the time there could be no possibility of war. Thus, the Cold War ended already decades back. So for Giddens, um, political leaders are becoming friends, and there could be no issues of future wars and struggles like the Cold War between Russia and the United States. But again, the question is it the national political leaders are still powerful? My answer is yes, in the context of that they are controlling the armed forces. They can go to war. However, they, on matters outside the armed forces and the military, the political leaders making national economic policy, making policies on climate change are not that much, are less effective in terms of its influence globally. So the answer of the question is: are nation states, hence national political leaders, still powerful? The answer is yes, in that aspects of the military and armed forces. But are they becoming irrelevant? Yes, in the context of creating economic policies and others, getting less and less relevant. And then to conclude, Gideon, this is the last part of the chapter. Gideon said we need to reconstruct those we have or create new ones. For globalization is not incidental to our lives today. It is a shift in our very life circumstances. So again, what happens now is deliberate. We human beings globally initiates it. It is our purpose. It is our goal to unite. And before I conclude, lastly, the perhaps in my own analysis, the reason behind why people, I mean, globalization are are flourishing right after 1950s is because people do not like to experience anymore the wars in the First World War from 1914 to 1917 and the Second World War in 1939 to 1945. I guess those are that is what happens. The United Nations was born. People wants to unite. People wants to connect among each other around the world. So the lessons of the war brings and inspires globalization. The inventions that they have during the war, fastest airplane, faster airplanes, faster ships, ways of communication, satellites, inventions of satellites as the product of because of as a result of innovations after the war brings about globalization. So wars, in my own analysis, brings the birth of of you know globalization. Thank you for listening. I hope to see you again on our next topic under the contemporary world. Thank you. Have a good day. Like, subscribe, comment, and thank you.